yan. Good.
This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The villain, Marty Scurll.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the busted wide open.
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 Boston Wide Open.
Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the Busted Wide Open universe on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. My name is Nick Howell. Welcome to episode number 319. I did that backwards. I messed you up.
Grateful.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know, we'll make it happen anyway. I'm eternally grateful that Christian Cage's gimmick is outwork everybody and not out-twerk everybody. That's a mental image for you. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show, everybody. On a night when McAfee was uninstalled from the PC, we are here to talk about Smackdown on a Friday night. It just happened. That's right. We're going to discuss everything that happened on this WrestleMania Fallout episode. You just put that one together, didn't you, Nick? I see you shaking your head over there. We have a lot to talk about. The first Smackdown since WrestleMania, and some major, both of the main events of WrestleMania were Smackdown matches. So Smackdown had a lot to live up to after that show. We also talk about AEW, Dynamite on Wednesday, and the very first Tuesday NXT that went head-to-head with our Tuesday show. Way to go, Triple H. Thanks, pal. We'll talk about how that show did on its new time slot at the worst possible time ever. We have a lot to discuss, Nick. There's so much. Plus, there's obviously some major breaking news that we will get into on this show as well. If you haven't heard about it, then I don't know where you've been, but don't worry. Yeah, we'll tell you all about it. But we'll kind of sneak it in as the show goes on, because it'll be relevant to a lot of things on SmackDown. But Nick, we got to do some business before we get into the actual wrestling talk. So let's handle that right now, and then we'll get going.
Yes, sir. Linktree.com/BWO, your one-stop shop to find all things Busted Wide Open. Head over there, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Tell your friends, tell your family, share it on your social medias. On your medias of social. Follow us over on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe over on YouTube. Get into the Discord community. It was lively as hell this weekend. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Big for our 6-day marathon event throughout WrestleMania. and NXT, AEW, and tonight's Smackdown. So make sure you get into the Discord. Plus, there's fun tech and gaming, other content, fun memes, all kinds of stuff over in that community as well. So there's more to do there than just wrestling all the time. But hey, there's plenty of people that love wrestling all the time. Let's see. Patreon. Special shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you guys for being amazing. Really appreciate all you guys. We're cooking up your April bonus episode to come out here in the next couple of weeks. Looking forward to that. Plus, the graphics have been completed, and your Patron Pick'ems merch will be going out over the course of the next week. So get ready. We got a lot of merch to send out. Another big shout out one more time to, I think we had 50 entrants, which is like 80% of our patrons played. And that's what I'm so proud of, is we've gotten everybody involved. Getting involved into the whole thing. I love it. It makes it hell for my spreadsheet stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Made it hell for. I got to send out a whole bunch of stickers that people beat me because I got wrecked because it's WrestleMania.
Welcome to my life.
One time of the year. Oh my God. Boy, this sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It sucks.
11 months out of the year. You just got to experience what it's like to be on the other end of the microphone.
Oh my God.
Other business we got to take care of. Kyle Cotton went on a damn spree, you guys. He gifted out subs to a whole bunch of people, so I'm going to try and get through them as fast as I can. Kyle, you the man. You the man. Thank you so much. First of all, he resubscribed with his own Tier 1 sub for 9 months in a row. Give that man some chicken. Oh, he's got all the chickens. Then he gave 100 bits and said, Smackdown in a nutshell, this is the show that doesn't end. It goes on and on, my friend.
It was only
People
2
started
hours.
wrestling not knowing what it was, and they'll continue wrestling only just because. This is the show.
I don't know, man. Did you watch Raw this week? SmackDown was a breeze compared to that.
It was 2/3 of what Raw was, thankfully.
Yeah. Oh
he then gifted 2 Tier 1 subs to Anna NXT and Xander Gabriel. Thank you very much. Another Tier 1 sub to M. Singer. Then Dieter resubscribed with a Tier 1 sub for 7 months, giving him a 6-month bucket of chicken. Woo! Congratulations, and thank you, Dieter, for the sub. Thank you, Kyle, for the gifted subs. Anna and M. Singer, make sure you thank Kyle Cotton for your gifted subs. Sheriff McDonald himself. Sheriff? Resubscribe with a Tier 1 for 9 months. He gets a little bit of all the chickens going out today.
Chickens flying everywhere tonight. I thought chickens couldn't fly.
Kyle didn't quit there. Golden Eagle, Roberto BWO, Shane's birthday tweet, Joe Juarez, and Garaz all got gifted subs from Kyle Cotton. Make sure you guys show some love. Kyle, thank you very much, man.
Kyle.
Thank you for the spree.
Thank you, sir.
That was unnecessary, unexpected, but we are absolutely grateful. Appreciate it. You know what? Just for that, one more.
Good.
All the chicken. Let the chicken rain down upon thee. But Ian, there's all the business. We got a lot of the graps to talk about, so let's not waste any more time and head over and kick it off with Friday Night Smackdown.
Well, right off the top, we got to talk about the fact that we had a brand new announcer. Corey Graves, no more on SmackDown. He's now over on Raw trying to get Adnan Virk on board with everything. Instead, sitting in his chair, we had a former NXT star, a former punter in the NFL. Pat McAfee is your new color commentator on Friday Night SmackDown. Solo. It's a 2-person team, him and Michael Cole. That's incredible. That's an amazing that's a big slot for someone to step in, especially in the modern day of WWE, where they tend to have 3-person booths just to have coverage. You don't have moments of silence like we did some points tonight. Largely, some of these points were because Pat kept cracking up Michael Cole, which of course was Corey Graves' thing. He always used to say that one of the things he loved to do when he came to SmackDown was just, what can I say to crack up Michael Cole? Pat got him a couple times tonight. The worst was during the women's tag match, I'll say in quotation marks, talking about Shayna Baszler. He said, she likes to say about her opponents, she likes to make them tap, nap, or crap. You can see Michael Cole in the background, head on the desk, laughing, absolute silence, and a second later he comes back in, just Pat McAfee. Michael Cole corpsing. Send for the man. So, yeah, Pat McAfee is now your announcer on SmackDown. What did you think of Pat's first night? What do you think about this decision to bring him up to this table?
In the very WWE super scripted, very chiseled kind of environment, he felt very awkward. But it was a good kind of awkward. I can't say I didn't enjoy it. I loved him ribbing Cole. It reminded me of, and this might be a stretch, but it reminded me a little bit of some of the Ventura dynamic when he was on commentary, ribbing Vince or just trying to not try to get him to laugh, but just there was that always there, right? And we had a little bit of that in recent years between Saxton and Graves, but it wasn't like that. That's the vibe that I got tonight. And they cut to the commentary desk at one point, and Pat's just standing up. And I just went, "This is awesome."
Mauro Ranallo used to do it too. Like you get excited, you want to stand up. It happens. Pat's an excitable guy. I'm not mad at that. I actually prefer to have a little bit of tradition getting broken. It actually helps with the WWE product, which can, as you say, be so rigid
it was
and so formulaic. It was, and I feel like it was. Again, we said the same thing about Adnan Burke on Monday Night Raw. It's a very you can't make. Like, first impressions matter a lot, but at the same time, you can't make a final judgment, especially on an announcer who's put in the slot sometimes overnight. In WWE's case, where they'll just be like, "Yeah, you're on Raw now," and it's so on the moment you're jumping into the deep end, both feet first.
But a lot of it usually is they're just playing the shell game with the cast of characters that they have. Very rarely do we see the new folks come in like this, and two on both shows.
So, they'll play the shell game. They will give them time. They will give them at least a few months to try to find their voice and see if they improve. Some people don't. Renee Paquette, it was fantastic at a lot of things. Commentary in the structure of WWE was not one of them. She was great when she was in NXT, but she got to Raw, and I guess just Vince in her ear just didn't work for her. And they gave her a lot of rope, and it just didn't work out. Now you have Pat here. I feel like there were obviously things tonight where I went, that can be improved. That can be improved. Nothing that is a deal breaker right now. I think Pat has a great mind for it. He's got a great mind for entertaining commentary. He was coming up with some lines to play his character tonight that I thought were very entertaining. We knew that about Pat. We've seen his work in WWE before. We know what a big fan he is. So it's one of those things where I have a lot of faith that Pat will actually work out to be great in this position. I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fair. Like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I think in terms of what he's there to do, he will end up being successful as long as they give him enough time to kind of just find his sea legs. I think he's definitely got the skills.
How does he continue to do his show, which, if I'm not mistaken, is based in New York City? How does he continue to do that?
That's a 3-hour flight, 4-hour flight from Florida. That's doable.
Yeah, I guess it is only once a week, right?
That's doable, man.
That
kind of
totally
money,
doable. Vince is
I
probably letting him use the jet.
They wanted me on SmackDown one night a week. I would find a way to fit that into my schedule. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even making the bills that Pat
you lose a day going west to east, though, man. That's jumping back and forth from New York is
That's okay. That's right. That's what I'm saying. Pat's got it easier, but I would still do it anyway. Obviously, of course, I would do it.
It's based in Indianapolis. Thank you.
What a joke of it. What a joke of a hypothetical. But that's neither here nor there.
Here's $10 million. Figure out how to be in Orlando one night a week.
There's a lot that I'd do for $10 million, Nick Howell. There's a lot. A lot I would do for $10 million. I'm a very buyable guy. But that being said, I'm a big fan of Pat and a big fan of him on this show. So I think that's an interesting, unique, and good call. I just hope he doesn't rub anyone the wrong way. Obviously, him and Cole have mended fences ever since he wore shorts on the pre-show of WrestleMania a couple years ago, and apparently Cole just dressed him down backstage. So, yeah, he wasn't wearing shorts tonight. Shocking.
I think that might be one of the reasons he stood up was to go, see, no shorts.
See, I'm not, look, not wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. I'm
in shorts, yeah. So, Kyle threw in 100 bits, said Triple H couldn't be there to corpse Cole because of NXT, so he sent Pat in his stead.
It's true. A year ago, we had Triple H corpsing Cole.
It was brilliant.
Actually, a little about a year and a month, 13 months ago. with Triple H running
Thank you,
it.
Kyle.
Good Lord.
Abe threw it. Abe's here. We can start now.
What's up? Oh, we can start. Okay, cool.
Also, he threw in 1,000 bits.
relief.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Abe. Good evening,
Whoa.
folks. Tip jar not working. What?
What?
But just dropping by to show some love. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. Thank you, Abe, and I'll look into that.
Thank you, Abe. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Oh, you gonna look at it right now?
While you're doing your thing.
Oh, am I doing
Yeah.
a thing? Okay, I thought we're calling out more people.
No, we're done. We're good.
Are we? Well, then, fantastic. Then I will move on and talk about the main event of the show, Cesaro. I said that right. Cesaro main evented SmackDown tonight. That happened because Roman came out at the top of the show to say, that's right, I stacked up Edge and Daniel Bryan like cordwood, like I said I would, crushed them, stacked them, pinned them. There you go. Paul, run down who these guys are for me. Paul Heyman does a whole litany of how important and special Daniel Bryan and Edge are, and Roman goes, that's right, I pinned them. That's why no one else is stepping up to me. Hall of Famers, nobody. No one wants to be embarrassed like that. All right, I'm out. But as he leaves, out comes Cesaro, gets in the ring, goes nose to nose with him, starts walking over to grab a microphone, and Roman goes, pfft, and leaves. Ditches Cesaro. Cesaro doesn't even doesn't get to cut a promo on him. Roman, Jay, Paul, they all take off. Cesaro's not happy about that. He goes and complains to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, says he wants a match with Roman that night. Adam starts hemming and hawing, and Sonya steps in and goes, I'll talk to Roman, see what I can do. Adam gives her a weird look. We'll come back to that. Meanwhile, Paul says to Kayla Braxton, no, he's not getting Roman. Are you kidding me? He's getting main event Jey Uso in the main event. So later on, we had Cesaro versus Jey Uso. Now, that being said, Nick, on the build-up to this, we had about 800 reminders that Cesaro put Seth Rollins on his shoulders at WrestleMania and gave him the UFO, which is a no-hands shoulder spin, like a fireman's carry spin without hands. And I swear to God, Nick, I don't know what the mentality here was. If that just blew Vince's mind so much that he had to show it 800 times on this show, or if he was trying to drive home that, hey, Cesaro's a big deal. Here's one freaking move. But it was really obnoxious after the second or third time.
I tuned it out at a certain
show.
point. Like I don't know. I find myself listening to Raw and SmackDown more than watching it these days. It's a funny thing. I'll either be on my phone, and if I if I hear something cool, I'll go, oh yeah, okay. So the fact that they were constantly going on and on about this, it's called the UFO, and they call it that because it's unidentified flying opponent. Opponent.
But that's kind of my point, Nick, is you're tuning out on it. It's so repetitive. It's a 2-hour show. And
a 2-hour show.
And the problem, and this is a 2-hour show as opposed to a 3-hour show on Mondays. And on this very show, we couldn't get a women's match longer than 3 minutes. We had a couple of men's matches that went over 10, nearly 15, and we couldn't scrape a couple minutes off of those to have a women's match at 7 minutes. We could show Cesaro spinning Seth 8 times or however many times it was. We can cut however many wrestlers, which they did this week, and exactly a year to the day after they had a massive cut last year. We had 10 other superstars released this week. Samoa Joe, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, Mickie James, Chelsea Green.
Oh, we're doing
Tucker,
this now.
Kalisto.
Okay.
I'm doing it right goddamn
Okay.
now. Mojo Rawley, Bo Dallas, and Wesley Blake. And looking down that list, you go, okay, 80% of that, people they weren't really using. And then, of course, you had people like that you were in the middle of using fairly well, like Billy Kay and Samoa Joe. And you go, wait, what? Obviously, in the case of Samoa Joe, he's on a performer contract. He's injured. He's got concussion protocol, so they have him as an announcer. He wants to wrestle. They won't let him. They don't want to keep paying him to be a commentator, so they wipe the slate and say, fine, we're done. I can understand a bit of business there. A lot of the other ones, it's definitely a head scratcher in terms of you couldn't make these people work. Why couldn't you use these people? They're massively talented. And of course, this comes a year to the day after they release Leo Rush, Drake Maverick, although he got rehired, Rusev, Rowan, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, No Way Jose, Eric Young, Sarah Logan, Mike and Maria Kanellis, Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, Heath Slater, Epico and Primo, EC3, Aiden English, Deanna Parazzo, and Alexander Jaksic. But the point being is that half of those people we just mentioned in the middle of a pandemic are already working. The 10 that they just released this week, they have a 90-day no-compete. July 14th, they'll be free to do as they please. We already have a countdown clock on Kalisto that he's put up on his social media, counting down until when he's free. And I'm sure we're going to get a whole bunch of stories from all of these people. But they can show Cesaro swinging Seth Rollins a million times. They can't find time for the existing people that they have, and they're releasing people that are that talented. It's a crazy system, and it's not sustainable.
Nope.
There's so many things that are wrong. You can't make money with Samoa Joe. If you can't make money with Samoa Joe, even if your doctors are saying, and by the way, we've heard so many just crazy things about their doctors too, between like the Charlotte fake pregnancy and all the way going back to like CM Punk and the Z-Packs, and then Daniel Bryan and Edge not being cleared, but then they magically are cleared. And I've read all the stories about how they got cleared and everything. And it's a lot of, going against WWE doctors. It makes you wonder, Nick, what's going on. And again, it's making you wonder again for the umpteenth time, what's going on with this company. They can't make money on these money people.
Yeah. I'm in a weird spot here. I was raging mad about this when I first heard about it because Samoa Joe and Billy Kay were the first ones we heard about. And then I saw the list of the others and I was like, good for them. And you might think, oh boy, don't say that, but at least they're not tied to catering anymore. At least now they've got an opportunity to go do something in another company, in another promotion.
Or just on their own. Bo Dallas and Liv Morgan are starting up a real estate company,
Cool.
Planning for life after
Good.
wrestling.
Fantastic. And if you look at some of the other people, I mean, Charlotte and Andrade, Becky and Seth, Sarah and Eric, there's a lot of people that have started going down that path, right? And there's definitely, Seth's got his wrestling school. Sarah has her thing. Anyway, not my point. I'm upset that we couldn't find something to do with Samoa Joe. I rewrite his contract, offering something different. We don't know. Maybe they did. And he was like, nah.
How do you not see him as valuable enough to retain it in some way?
You would rather bring in 50's insurance guy, True Light Spark Plugs, instead of having Samoa Joe sit there on your commentary desk. I don't get it.
It's pretty crazy.
I don't get it. I'm tired of trying to figure it out. This is the second year in a row they've done this shit.
It's not the second year in a row. This is the umpteenth time in the row. Just last year was really big.
It's the second time in the last year that we've had these two big cleansings.
We get to this time of year and they have to please the stockholders. We have the stock call coming in a couple of weeks. Now they can say, "Oh, we cut budget here." You know what I mean? It looks good on their paperwork sent when they send it in for the quarterly. So it makes sense why they do it when they do it. It's one more proof that this is a business, not a family. And anyone who's in here saying, "Oh, I love working for this company," the company doesn't love you working for them. You're an asset. You're a product. It's just a reminder of that. But the thing is you look conversely. The reason I bring this up now is you look at Cesaro, and there, but for the grace of God, went Cesaro. Right? How many times has that guy been half-ass pushed and then ended up doing nothing? Half-ass push, ended up doing nothing. I'm shocked Shinsuke wasn't part of this release this year, to be honest with you, given the way that he's been sort of utilized. And Cesaro, the fact that he's getting a push at all right now that he's in the main event, I even look at that and I say, okay, but how long will this last? How long will Vince and Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn believe in this guy that they've never believed in before? As it was, they never, Cesaro, Paul cut a promo on him saying he was a buck-toothed moron, essentially. And Cesaro says, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. And I got buck teeth, but you know what? I deserve a match with Roman Reigns. I'm like, how is that getting the guy over? How is calling out his weak points getting the guy over?
How does calling him a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal help anything?
How does that get him? How does that help a damn thing? You know, like it's that kind of mentality that you sit there and go, why are you undermining guys that you're supposed to be helping? Why are you releasing people that had gimmicks that were over? Tucker, Heavy Machinery,
Iconics.
and now Otis, Iconics. Billy Kay was getting over. Like, why you can't make money with
Peyton
them?
Royce was on the verge of getting to be the single superstar she deserves to be.
Yeah, I still have a rampant speculation, like self-lore, if you will, that her speaking up and bitching about her place
On Raw
saying,
Talk or whatever it was.
Yeah, and saying I deserve more, and then her mom tweeting out that Charlotte keeps stealing people's spots. I have a feeling that might play a role into it. But obviously, like I said, that's headcanon. I have no idea. But so anyway, so that's in light of the releases this week, Cesaro's main event push, and just the little hints to me that it wasn't as big of a push as we would think, especially the ending where he starts to get Jey Uso in a swing and Seth Rollins comes down and interrupts him. Doesn't look like we're going to get Cesaro versus Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns walking away from him was kind of how the company felt about Cesaro as well. You're cute. You're not on Roman's level. Stick with Seth. That was the message I took from this whole thing. And in light of all these releases, that made me really worried about Cesaro's future because it's a tiny little thing. Like you can be on top of the world. You can be Ricochet and having feuds with AJ Styles. You get squashed by Brock once. Bye-bye. You're on main event for the rest of the time. And one of the other things I thought about was with Samoa Joe, like the time they had it made. They had millions of dollars made was with him and Brock and their feud in 2017, right around Great Balls of Fire. And like that feud was hot fire. And you even had Brock saying, Samoa Joe should go over me. I like working with him. This is going to be a good feud. You can make money with him, make him a top guy. And they didn't pull the trigger on it. And I still remember there was like they had like the typical WWE pull apart brawl, right? Where they get in the ring and they stare each other down and Joe throws a headbutt at Brock. They start tussling. Kurt Angle, who was the general manager at the time, calls out the refs and the security. They all get tossed out of the ring because these guys are, two bulls in a china shop. You can't control them. And so Kurt's like, oh, I need more help out here. So he calls out the entire, quote unquote, the entire locker room. It's very telling who the entire locker room was. It's the typical goon squad. In those spots, they call anybody who they're not worried about looking bad by not being able to hold back your top guys. You know who was part of that group? Enzo and Cass, Bo Dallas, Kurt Hawkins, Curtis Axel, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Gallows, Heath Ledger, Rhino, the Revival. Heath Ledger was one of them. Kalisto. This is in 2017.
Heath Ledger? Heath Slater.
Heath Ledger. Heath Slater. Excuse me, not Heath Ledger. He'd be very difficult to have that coming up.
I watched Dark Knight this weekend too, for what it's worth.
It would be really difficult for Heath Ledger. Yes, Heath Ledger also buried in a totally different way.
Come on.
Kalisto and finally the two guys that made it out of this okay. At the time, they were Titus Worldwide. Titus and Apollo Crews were also part of that. So of all of the guys that were breaking up, Brock and Joe, one's now a Hall of Famer and one is your current Intercontinental Champion. The rest, gone. And that's another thing. It's just very telling.
I never thought about it that way.
It's very telling how quickly things can change on you in the WWE. All it takes is just, Vince losing faith. Because you look at like Cedric and Shelton now, right?
Oh, they're on their way out.
Where are they going? They're toast.
They've now been replaced by another gimmick that couldn't get over, and they're in masks.
And people
great
wonder,
sense, guys.
Yeah. Well, people wonder why we get doom and gloom when people that we're big fans of start moving down the card like that. It's because we've seen it time and time and time again. Once you have the stink of catering on you, it's just a matter of time. And then all of a sudden it doesn't matter how talented you are, how much money WWE could be making with you. They just seem to like to leave money on the table. And it's maddening to watch when you're sitting there going like, there's no reason with someone that talented you couldn't find a storyline for them when you had the time to do all these other things on your show.
Kyle 300 bits said 6 UFO highlight packages, but the women can't get more than 3 minutes. Hey, at least Reginald is gone.
For now, he's just he's sick. We don't know if it's COVID or what it is, but he tweeted out that he's sick somehow.
Thank you, Kyle. JB showed up and resubbed with a tier 1 for 9 months. That means you get a little
Good.
chicken. Thank you very much, JB. Good to see you. Says she was slipping in while at work. Got to get her BWO fix. Thank you, lady.
Oh.
Kyle threw another 100 bit. Said Rhea Ripley literally said on the bump Wednesday she wanted to feud with Peyton Royce, which would be such an easy story to tell. All of these people were Drake Mavericks that did everything they were asked and ambassadors. Everything they want from their stars, and they can't be bothered to do something, or in some cases, were doing something. How is this the same company that runs NXT that is bending over backwards to give talent something to do to the point of creating an entire other show? I don't know. It's a good rhetorical question, Kyle. Absolutely.
Exactly. Unanswerable
He
question.
threw in another 100 bits, said, you want to see something else depressing in regards to releases? Look at the NXT Tag Team Championship history. Graveyard.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Brutal.
Thank you guys for all the bits.
Absolutely brutal. Because you know why? Because they're tag teams. Which reminds me, Nick, we had a tag team match tonight. The Street Profits actually finally got their title shot at the Dirty Dogs. But this, of course, was after we had Bianca Belair's celebration, because this was actually, I think, the highlight of the show. Let's get from negativity to something that was really good, Nick. Take a deep breath. I can see.
Hang on, I gotta rub my ears. Woosah.
Yes, there you go. Woosah. Pat your brow. So we went from let's go and talk about this. Street Profits come out first. We know that they're going to have a tag team title match with the Dirty Dogs, and they come out and they're going to introduce Bianca Belair. They let Montez Ford actually introduce her along with Dawkins. They don't hide that he's her husband in real life. They actually play it up. They make it natural. They don't. Nick, it was subtle. They didn't say Montez Ford is really Bianca Belair's husband. So they're a wonderful husband and wife couple. Let's look at them having a wonderful time at home on her birthday party. They just let it be. They let them just be a couple. And by the way, relationship goals, those two, they're an absolutely amazing, beautiful couple. And they just let that be what it is on TV. And it was beautiful to watch. They're freaking adorable. And Bianca came out, did her whole entrance, got in the ring, and gave a speech that I want to get your opinion on, Nick, because obviously some parts very scripted, very much like, if you're like me, just believe in yourself and you too can be an EST, be a star, that whole thing. But the other side of it felt very heartfelt because I truly felt like she believed a lot of the things that she was saying.
To me, this was the best promo I've heard her give.
It was definitely one of her top ones. And do you chalk that up to the writing, to her delivery? How much do you think of this was genuine? How much of it was scripted?
I didn't just hear it. I felt it. That was the difference. Most of the other ones you can just, and also who better to be a hype man than Montez Ford? The EST. No, the EST.
Yeah.
Of WW and coming straight into the camera, fourth wall, and just, oh my God, just absolutely nailed it, that setup. And then the most booming, somebody pushed the fader all the way up on her music because it came out bumping and the crowd, just the noise and everything. And I was just like, oh my God. And I was just like, this made me put my phone down. Right?
Yeah. It felt like a big moment. It really did. It felt like, and Nick, as two guys who have been fans of Bianca Belair since early in NXT and said, like, you need to strap this woman. You need to make her a big deal. She's a big deal. It's awesome to finally see that happening and to kind of be vindicated on that. Like, oh, thank God they actually did it. Right? In the midst of us talking about all these bad decisions WWE are making, let's talk about a really good one. And that is strapping Bianca Belair when they did 1 year and 2 days after she debuted on the main roster is today. She debuted a year and 2 days ago with the Street Profits. And then next week she squashed, who did she squash? Santana Garrett. So a week from now, a year ago, she squashed Santana Garrett. So that's how recent she's been on the main roster. That's how recent she came up.
That's a long journey.
And they did nothing with her for most of the year. And whether that was just them saying, we don't know what to do with her, or whether them saying, let's hold off and then we'll just, boom, absolutely hot shot her to the moon, like just strap the rockets to her at the last minute. We don't know.
It's working.
It's like, who cares? She's like, regardless of how they got there, let's look at what they've ended up with, and they've ended up with an absolute next level star and their next big female star.
Yep.
So congratulations to that. And to her, this was fantastic. She feels like a star. Now then we cut to Sasha Banks backstage, who shows off her scar from the hair whip at WrestleMania and is so mad she can't even talk.
Guys, that's like a week old. It's still there.
It's still there. Good God. It's like she got shot. And then later on we see Bayley saying, yeah, Sasha's so mad she can't talk. I was too busy saving WrestleMania to have to worry about that. But now I'll challenge Bianca Belair for the championship. What did you take that as, Nick? Bayley being her first opponent, is that the women's division just being too shallow and she's the only other person legitimate enough to go up against Bianca Belair, even though they've already had a feud? They were the feud to get Bianca to Sasha. Or do you feel like this is going to be much more of like a proper passing of the torch and we can move on?
I think Sasha put her over, and I think Bayley needs to do that as well, and that will sort of kind of cement this.
But my point is Bayley's already put her over. Will this have just more meaning now that she's already?
No, I mean in
champ?
a title defense scenario is what I'm implying. Sure, she's already done that, but I'm saying she's now to cement her title reign, having wins over 2 of the 4 horsewomen. Yeah. And just line them up, let her knock them down. Guys, I have said on this show, I think for almost 2 years now, and I was going to save most of this speech until we get to NXT, because if you know, you know. But at some point, we're going to have to move on from the 4 horsewomen. This is how you do it. Have her beat Sasha, who is over the moon. Have her beat Bayley next. Oh, doing great. And then, I mean, just wait till Becky's music pops and we all lose our minds. Because the man
I worry about
has
that
come
coming
around
back now. Yeah, I wonder if you're still going to feel that way when she comes back and the women's division gets pushed down even further.
I don't know.
Because who else after Bayley? Then who?
Well, Charlotte's going after Asuka and Rhea.
Right. So then
that's why I think Becky's coming to SmackDown, and because of Seth.
That's why. But then will they have, like, is she going to come back a heel? Because Bianca is face as hell.
I think I proselytized something a couple years, it was a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That she could flip and go with Seth.
It's almost as though, yeah, she could go with Seth. That'd be an interesting way of doing it. But it's almost as though they could use like another woman or two in the division who was strong. They could have built up to actually make her look good in this scenario. But I can't think of anyone that they could have used. Maybe a possible like future Hall of Famer, won a lot of championships, Mickie James, or some up and comer like, I don't know, that might need to, a good opponent, has some history with Peyton Royce. I'm just spitballing here. But it's regardless.
Shayna
we
Baszler.
Also had the Street
wait,
Profits.
she's too busy
Shayna
getting
Baszler.
pinned.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. Oh,
More on this, I promise, from me when we get to NXT. I have so much more I want to say about this.
Oh, the spice. But one of the things I loved about the Bianca speech was she ended it with the line to Montez. She said, "That's right. Now it's your turn to go out and win this tag team match because we only have gold in this house."
I love how she sent him on. Go on and handle your business.
Right. Because in this house, we all have gold, so you better go handle.
And I actually thought... I'll save it. Sorry.
You actually thought
I thought they were going to flip him.
And you know what's funny? I thought there was a strong possibility too, but the fact that the Street Profits were ultimately beaten by the Dirty Dogs later on in this match actually made it very interesting for me. Will that have repercussions between Montez and Bianca in kayfabe? Is that a storyline going forward? Is that, because here's the thing, right now going into this match, was there a storyline between the Street Profits and the Dirty Dogs? Not really. Not since a few months ago.
There
when
never
the
really
has
been, frankly.
Again. There was barely one, but they kind of dropped it. And then this, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Street Profits randomly get their championship, their singles, their one-on-one championship match again with the Dirty Dogs. And for no reason, they had a four-way last week, but now they get another title shot. What do they do to get that? We don't know. Doesn't matter. There was no story. Is there a story now where Tez has to go like fight for Bianca's honor in a sense, or like, I've got to prove to my woman that I'm a winner? Because if so, that's a much more engaging storyline than what we had going into this match. And if that's where they're going with this, obviously it's WWE. I know that's long odds, but if that's the storyline that we're going for in this, that's a good call. Yeah. That's an intriguing storyline. And keeping the profits at least somewhat ancillary tied to your champion, your women's champion, is an interesting look as well. Those kinds of like little,
as long as it doesn't fall into double entendre innuendo territory, like can't perform, can't get the job done. Like, I don't want to hear that shit, Jerry.
No,
you know,
no, I don't either. Like, I like it when I prefer it when relationships are realistic, like they were in this segment. They felt like a real life couple who are both competitive in this company.
And I love how when she came out, he kind of just stood off to the side and handed her the microphone. There was a lot like, oh my God, there were no falling over each other. He just kind of leaned back and went, "That's my woman." And you could, like we said, just find you somebody that looks at you like Montez Ford looks at Bianca Belair.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Chelsea Green, another one would have been good to go up against Bianca.
You know?
But, F me, right? But no, but as you said, man, like the two of them were absolute relationship goals. Also relationship goals, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. How long have these two guys had some sort of feud or some sort of battle going on? We thought it was over at WrestleMania. We were wrong. Sami Zayn came out to the ring and started running his mouth again about how Logan Paul had been brainwashed by the idiots backstage and the commentary and the troglodyte audience. He called out Kevin Owens to say, I'm not finished with you, Owens. And Kevin Owens finally came out and was like, you want more ass whipping? I'll give you more ass whipping. And we had a WrestleMania rematch. Now, Nick, when we did our Raw episode, these 4 days ago, there was a WrestleMania rematch on that show as well. It was Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. And while the match itself was very good, did we bitch and moan about the lazy booking of booking a pay-per-view rematch on the next show after a pay-per-view.
I halfway think the whole Backlash pay-per-view is going to be rematches of WrestleMania.
But at least then you can build it up for a few weeks, get some more story beats in here. Here we have another WrestleMania rematch. Something funny for you there, buddy?
The fact that they're going to develop stories. No, they're not.
What happened to skeptically optimistic?
They got 2 weeks,
all right.
Whatever it is. They're just, guys, what they're doing right here is they're testing different outcomes so that they can just take the best ones and make it the WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view. That's your card.
Have to be history,
oh, God.
But okay,
it's going to be all the same matches.
It's probably going to be. We're probably going to get Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn again. But that being said, we had a rematch on this show. But again, these two guys fight forever. Like, I've never not entertained by one of their matches.
I love Sammy's promo. It was brilliant. I just love him ranting like a lunatic.
Can we give them a pass when we just came down on them for the same thing on Monday? Granted, this wasn't a title rematch. This was just a grudge match rematch. Like, how do we excuse ourselves giving this match a pass when we just bitched about the same thing on Monday?
Because there's obvious trust with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for that matter, in the sense of they're not being handed scripted content to go out there and read verbatim. The other ones feel like that.
It's not even that. It's the arbitrariness of it. I think it's not that. I mean, yeah, but they also trust Rhea and Asuka to go out there. Asuka barely even speaks English in her promos, and they trust her to go out there and cut an awesome promo, and she does. But this is I think more that I think the reason why we'll let this give us a pass is Rhea and Asuka was arbitrary. Yeah. Why should there be a title rematch? It's for the title. What are you doing? How are title matches special if they can happen arbitrarily whenever you want?
If she wants a rematch, make her earn it and do it at the pay-per-view.
Make her earn it. As opposed to this, where it's two guys who don't like each other, who are having a grudge match, and one is a sore loser and says, come on, let's do it again. That's a reason for a rematch. That is writing that gives you a reason for a rematch. There was no reason on Monday night. Here, there was a reason. And I'm looking forward to more of this feud because, as always, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, fight.
Absolutely.
Forever.
Kyle 300 bits said, I just want to see all summer Kevin Owens trying to ambush, surprise Sammy, and stun him. And over the weeks, Sammy gets increasingly paranoid. Just do the R-Truth 24/7 stuff, but KO being a badass. Yeah, that would be hilarious. He's constantly just like looking over his shoulder and, oh, did you hear that?
Like looking behind doors and stuff.
Have you seen Kevin?
Yeah.
Over on
passes by a TV showing boxing,
Right.
and the announcer goes KO, KO, and he's like, where?
constantly
Yeah.
PTSD getting triggered. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Steven over on YouTube with the $20 super
Oh!
chat. Dude,
Hey!
thank you very much, man.
Thank
Said
you very
congrats
much, sir.
on getting through WrestleMania in one piece.
Oh yeah.
Believe me, I've
Well-
still got the little twitches. It's so much. I did the
Several-
math, Ian. We watched over 20 hours of wrestling last week.
That's probably more than that because I watched a couple things we didn't
That's
really
true.
talk
That's
about.
true. You did do some
Yeah,
New Japan
so-
stuff as well.
and Bloodsport and that
that's
sort of thing.
Jesus. You're a madman. You're a madman.
Yeah, I
Could you imagine if we had a proper populated a normal WrestleMania weekend with Janela Spring Break and all the other indie shows and everything?
I can imagine it. We've done that. We just haven't done as much live
That's
content.
true.
But anyway, that's neither.
Thank you very much,
We're getting
Scott.
off on a tangent. Thank you very much, brother. Very much appreciated. I am holding it together in one piece only because my entire back is covered in duct tape. It looks like trainer's tape. It makes sense. So the finish of this match, though, was Sami Zayn rolling out of the ring, gouging Kevin's eyes to give him time, and he runs up the ramp and gets counted out. What was weird, he got counted out, but then Kevin Owens went out and got him, brought him back into the ring, and stunnered him anyway. So Kevin Owens stands tall at the end of the match and wins either way. So that was a really weird finish, and I wasn't really quite sure what they were trying to say with that, but okay.
Sure.
I couldn't tell if that was an indication that the feud is going to continue. I hope it does. I'm always down to see these two guys feud, and given this landscape of SmackDown, it's best thing for both of them.
Yep.
Especially considering on the other side of things, in the tag division, I say with quotation marks, we had Otis in a singles match against Rey Mysterio. Now, Otis has had Rey's number in all their tag matches for the last few weeks, so it stood to reason that Rey would get some back here because 50-50 booking. And sure enough, Rey got his back and beat Otis here with a little crucifix pin using Otis's weight against him. Nice. Where is the story going?
Nowhere.
I don't know. It's the story of Rey Mysterio for the last year and a half is just the same thing week after week. Recycle. Kind of disappointing, especially when you consider that what Otis is doing, and meanwhile Tucker's out on the street.
Yeah.
So, kind of a shame. Do you think they might possibly have been doing this to build up the Mysterios for the next tag shot against the Dirty Dogs?
I wouldn't mind that. I'd like that. I thought that's where we were going, frankly. I actually thought they were going to put them on. They would put them on the Street Profits and ultimately get Alpha Academy or Gable and Otis, get them on them. I don't think that the Mysterios are a bad choice.
No, they would be my second choice to put them on, other than the Dirty Dogs, of the 4 tag teams.
I'd put them back on the Street Profits ASAP. They're just
that's my
Dirty Dogs
first
are
choice.
just doing
My
none
second
of them,
choice.
nothing with them.
Except coming out there with a big white braid in Dolph Ziggler's hair, which was weird. I couldn't tell if that was a Bianca Belair knock or he was trying to be Lance Archer,
It was
or
totally
what was
for
going on.
to get it Montez.
That was supposedly supposed to be a
All right.
joke. It's okay.
Sorry.
Speaking of jokes, Natalya and Shayna Baszler had a match. The same match they had 2 weeks ago. Literally 2 weeks ago. They tussle around for a little bit of a distraction. Natalya rolls up Shayna. That's the match. 2 minutes and a half, maybe 3. Absolute joke. Absolute travesty. This is what we were talking about at the top, where we were saying they can't find time to give these women. And this is 2 women, you don't have the excuse of they can't work a long match. That's Natalya and Shayna Baszler. They both can work a long match. They can work a longer match. This is WWE not having faith in them. This is WWE being lazy. This is WWE being not creative. This is WWE burying someone who should be doing better. Shayna Baszler, who has been rolled up 16 of her 21 losses on the main roster.
Wow.
That's insane.
Holy smokes.
That's horrific. Horrific. And it's furthering a feud that should have ended at WrestleMania, but for some reason seems to be going on.
Oh, we're going to get it again at
wonders-
Backlash, and they're probably going to swap the titles to Nia and Tamina,
But this
or Natty and Tamina.
This is what's insane, is why not have that moment at WrestleMania where there are fans? Why not have it at WrestleMania? This is the same thing we were saying about if Drew wins the title off of Lashley at WrestleMania Backlash. Why not do it in front of fans when you're going to get a big pop, a big reaction for the faces? Everyone's going to get over. It's going to be a wonderful moment. Why not do it there? Why make the audience go, oh, at your live show? Hey, welcome back. We're together, and we're going to make all the heels win. Wait, what? That's abuse. That is psychological abuse. And then we're going to let all the faces win at this other show a month later. That would make no sense. I frankly hope that this was just them not knowing what else to do this week, and hopefully we'll find like the Riot Squad faces Shayna and Nia at WrestleMania Backlash. I think you're right, Nick. I just,
that's going to be Natty.
Hope springs eternal.
And in the spot after the match, Nia tried to come in and interfere with the roll-up. Tamina comes in, has a big strength spot, boots her.
Yeah.
Has a screaming. So, yeah, it's very clear to me that that's where they're going with this.
Yeah, this is basically what this was a pre-Women's Revolution match, just less bra and panties. Yeah. But same mentality, same freaking mentality. No one wants to watch the woman. We'll give them 4 or 5 minutes at most.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said Shayna's WWE career win percentage has dropped 10% since being called up to Maine 18 months ago.
Surprised it's only 10%.
Yeah, me too. What did you say it was? 14 out of 16 times?
16 out of 21 losses have been roll-ups, have been surprise roll-ups.
Out of 21 losses. She's
correct.
She went 2 years without any losses in NXT as the women's champion.
That's why it only dropped 10%. She's got a lot of wins.
She's had 21 losses in 18 months?
Yes. Yep.
Oh my God.
That's where we're at.
Kyle.
That's where we're at. She's here eating pins by Natalya in 3 minutes.
Oh.
So gets the win at WrestleMania. She got to pin her at WrestleMania. So I don't know what this. I have no idea. I can't. We're here trying to explain everything that goes on SmackDown. This is one of those things where I go, I don't know what they're doing here. I would love it if someone else came along and explained to me what in the world the logic was behind this booking on any level. On any level, please. There's so many questions I have about this booking. It's ridiculous. But not as many questions as I have about why Apollo Crews is just getting more and more into this 1996 Nigerian gimmick. He introduces us to his, formerly Dabakato, formerly Babatunde, now known as Commander Aziz. They're backstage, and Apollo says, yeah, I would give Big E a rematch, but I won't. This is Commander Aziz, and they've got Babatunde up there just pretending with the same bad high school costume military shirt on. Oh my God.
I can't help but laugh.
Me too at this point. I'm just like, I just have to laugh.
I just hear Vince in the back going, his name's Aziz.
His finisher is the Nigerian nail. They're basically anything they can put the word Nigerian in front of, they're going to, as a Nigerian drum fight. And here's the Nigerian nail from the Nigerian Commander Aziz.
All I can think of is Fifth Element. Aziz, lights.
I wish I had that kind of that kind of nice association with this. Look, I'm glad Apollo's getting TV time. I'm glad he's the Intercontinental Champion. We've said it before. This gimmick is garbage, but he is absolutely making chicken salad out of this chicken shit. And it's doing wonders for him in other ways. So you know what? If this is what he has to do to get over in Vince's eyes, the sooner this goes from Preacher New Day into what New Day became, the happier I'll be.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said Apollo Crews and Aziz, a.k.a. reverse Armando Estrada and Umaga.
Kind of.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah. Or Del Rio. It's definitely like having the regular guy in the heater is a tale as old as time. It's just this one is particularly ridiculous, but yeah, all I see is 1996 gimmicks whenever I see this. It's But that was SmackDown.
Yeah,
It was.
Hey,
Honestly, like it could have been worse. Definitely not. I think the best foot they wanted to put forward after that WrestleMania. Some stuff I think that they are going in the right direction. Some of the stuff I'm really like fingers crossed about the Cesaro push. Fingers crossed. Like Roman Reigns' promo was sick. There's obviously a lot of elements that weren't there this week, kind of like on Raw. There was a lot of things that weren't there this week. Big E wasn't there. Daniel Bryan wasn't there. Edge wasn't there. So there's lots of things still kind of floating out in space. We have to wait and see where they land. Also, Aleister Black, who's a SmackDown superstar right now, I believe, is starting to put out vignettes right now. It looks like he's going back towards like a Tommy End meets the bad guy from Far Cry 5, which honestly, I'm not mad at. Okay. I wait and see. Bad recent history of cult leaders in WWE, but I'll give it a shot.
I did have one question for you though. Something I forgot to bring up earlier when we were talking about the Roman stuff at the top. Over the WrestleMania weekend, I mentioned that I think we were talking about the next opponents for Roman after Edge and Daniel Bryan. We did mention Cesaro. We mentioned Big E. And I threw a flyer out there of Seth Rollins. And when I saw Seth come in and interfere in the match with Jey Uso tonight to get at Cesaro, I kind of went, oh.
Yeah, could this be
an inroad? Is Roman going to get pissed at Seth for interfering in what he's trying to do against Cesaro, and it turns into some beef, and somehow we flip Seth back face in this whole thing? I see a little bit of writing on the wall there with Seth and Roman.
I don't see Seth going back face, but certainly, I mean, it's not too out of the realm of possibility. I said last time I didn't really see it. I can see it a little bit more now, Seth perhaps aligning himself with Roman. It's just that I think that'd be a weird fit right now. It felt more to me like it's still, Cesaro looked like he was going to go for Roman, but that's just not where they see Cesaro yet. He still has more work to do with Seth. Nick, they have to have their rematch at WrestleMania Backlash, don't you?
I know, yeah.
So don't get ahead of yourself there, buddy. We still have a WrestleMania rematch together.
But is that a schmoz because Jay comes out to get his pound of flesh back?
See, now you're Nick booking, and we'll have to just wait and see, I suppose.
Kyle gifted a tier. Kyle. Thank you very much for the gifted sub to JB. She has 2 accounts. That's her backup.
Well, yes.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Have we determined why she has 2 accounts? Is it because one keeps futzing up?
I have no idea.
All right, well, if you're still there in the chat, JB, please let us know.
Thank you, Kyle.
But thank you very much, Kyle. But that's it for SmackDown, Nick. But there's plenty more to talk about this week, including some of the ladies from SmackDown showing up over on NXT.
I'm going to compose myself because this genuinely moved me, this whole thing. Because it's something I've been wanting to see for a long time. We've just come off of 2 multi-year title reigns between Asuka and Shayna Baszler. A little bit of Rhea in there, right? But for the most part, for the last 3 to 4 years, it's been all Asuka and Shayna Baszler.
A little bit of Kyrie
in there too, sure. So to see Raquel Gonzalez come out and get her anointment, and kind of the role reversal of, we talked about this too, of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
MC Dakota Kai, wiki. Dakota Kai coming out there emceeing this event and saying, here's Raquel Gonzalez. And out comes Raquel looking like a million bucks with her new title. And they get in the ring and they're celebrating, her win. And I'm the new champ. I told y'all it was going to happen. Yep. But then who should come out to interrupt but Frankie Monet, formerly Taya Valkyrie. La Loca Güera. Güera Loca.
Yeah.
Güera. Out she comes to the ring with her little puppy. Not a puppy. It's not a poodle. It's a Pomeranian of some sort.
Ball with a face on it.
Yeah. It's adorable. She comes to the ring with her dog, introduces herself, says she's coming for everybody, but especially she's coming for that title. Nice to see Taya. Nice to see Frankie in there. What do you think about the Frankie Monet name? Apparently, a lot of people didn't like it.
I think it's so.
She actually shut off her. What?
I hate it.
Really?
Yeah, terrible name.
You come down on the you hate it side of it? Even with that gimmick that she obviously has?
I think the gimmick's going to
like
be
the bougie...
stellar. I think she's going to be stellar. I am butthurt that she didn't get to keep Taya Valkyrie.
Really? Yeah. I think given where she was going with her character of Taya Valkyrie in Impact at the end there, given the fact she's basically doing like Vanessa Bourne turned up to 11, just, total Karen bougie, Beverly Hills princess kind of thing. I think Frankie Monet is a fantastic name. I love it. I think it totally fits her character. I think it's evocative of what she's trying to show with that character. What I've seen the character so far, I think it nails the character.
I love that they were throwing some Spanish back and forth at each other too.
That was cool. I'm gonna say that title up your culo.
No, take that dog and stick it straight up your culo. And I was like, damn.
My goodness. Can you say that on PG
Yeah, right.
TV, PG? Oh my goodness.
Hang on. Is it 10 o'clock yet
my
on USA?
Goodness.
No.
Yeah.
Telling you gonna stick a dog up somebody's ass. That's not nice.
But funny. Yeah. I thought she looked great getting in here. She looked like a star. She went right for the top of the card. That's a good look, good first look. And frankly, depending on, if they just shuttle her right off to the main roster, if they do put her with John Morrison, that Frankie Monet gimmick's going to fit right in with him and Miz.
Yep, certainly will. Now, and we saw Maurice come back as well. So
yeah. So I want to mark this moment. Everyone who hates the Frankie Monet name, and just because you're thinking of Taya Valkyrie, this is not a War Machine to Viking Raiders scenario. I don't think. This is very much
gimmick
like
change in your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is not that. They're changing the gimmick. It's not like she's still Taya Valkyrie.
Well, she did still throw the Vera Loca, catchphrase out there.
She's keeping
it's
aspects.
still her.
Yeah,
she's still got pieces of it.
But that's like a lot like Kevin Owens when he came in from the Indies. He kept a lot of the things that he was doing in the Indies, but he still changed up some of who he was. You know what I mean? Like but even his name was still very much more similar to what it used to be. It wasn't as big of a shift. That maybe is not the best example, but the bottom line is that I think the Frankie Monet name really fits with the gimmick. So I'm going to come down on the side of, for everyone who's freaking out about the name, it's just because it's shocking after coming after Taya Valkyrie, which is kind of a really cool name itself. This is much more of a WWE gimmick style of name. Like I preach patience on this. Let it settle in. I think you'll find you dig it. It's not Dolph Ziggler bad in terms of names. Okay, I'll put it that way. But that wasn't the only interruption, because after Frankie leaves, who should come out but what is Rhea Ripley doing here in the Capitol Wrestling Center zone? Rhea Ripley comes out. And
I
then,
marked out hard.
And they were even saying in the commentary was like, they've got history. They're the best of friends, the worst of enemies. And we get in the ring, like, what's going to happen? The Raw Women's Champion and the NXT Champion. And right as they get face to face, and they give each other a big hug, and it's a really wonderful moment. Former real life roommates, women who did come up in NXT together, real life best friends. Amazing moment. But then you get the whip crack sound. Out comes Bianca Belair. And you have these three women come down in front of the picture of them when they were young NXT up-and-coming stars, and the three of them standing in the ring as the three women's champions of WWE. You could have brought out Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler with the tag titles, because they've also went through that
NXT
system.
alumni, yeah.
So you really could have lined up all five women and said, like, check this out. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty dope.
But these three in particular, who were really good friends when they were in NXT, that was a fantastic moment. Now,
I read into this as them going, okay, we had the four horsewomen of NXT for a while. Here's the next. Here's the evolution. Here's the next.
Here's the three.
Here's your next group, your next batch. That's going to be the next 10 years of WWE.
Yeah, the trio of powerhouses that are now on top.
Yeah. And I felt things. I haven't popped back to back like that in a couple of years. It's been a minute, right? And when I saw Frankie come out, I'm like, oh, okay, nice debut for Taya. Go straight for the title, come out face to face with face off with Raquel. And when I heard this is my brutality, I went, yeah, she's back, cool. Oh, she's coming back with the title. That's cool. And they come in and they do the friend thing, and then I had that genuine kind of moment, and I'm getting a little.
Yeah, you get a little,
It's
little
cool.
misty over
It's cool. That's
Yeah.
all it is just that this is the kind of stuff you want in the women's division. It's the thing that you hope that they do, not fucking Natty and Tamina rolling up Shayna Baszler. This is what you're supposed to be. This is how you move on from the 4 horsewomen of NXT, guys.
Not Kevin Dunn, not
Bailey.
Billy
This
Kay.
is your life.
No, but also not Billy Kay getting released because one of the reasons being allegedly that Kevin Dunn, quote unquote, doesn't get her, and saw a ceiling for her in WWE. This is one of those things you look at and go, okay, there is some promise here. There is some good in him yet. But unfortunately, maybe it was just I was still smarting from Monday Night Raw or something, but I just was looking for those cracks and sitting there going, wow, did this really overshadowed Frankie Monet's debut by having these 3 women come out, or these 2 other women come out? It made Dakota Kai look like,
nothing.
Third tier, nothing. So yeah, great for these 3 women, but hopefully there is something coming for Dakota Kai. Hopefully there is something else coming for Frankie Monet. I'm glad they had their moment. It definitely made me kind of go, could you have had this and not overshadow these 2 other women who could also be superstars? Yeah. Again, it is the nittiest of nitpicks, but I got to throw it out there as just a thought.
Kyle Thread 100 bits said this was my high point of all of my Mania week. The crowning and the fact that 3 of these girls came in each the same year. I was getting emotional over this, and I haven't had that happen since Kofi Mania. Like a proud Papa fan moment. That's what it was, Kyle.
Yeah,
it was kind of a proud Papa moment. Like, oh, my girls, I've been watching them, yes.
Yeah.
And after watching Asuka get kind of punked and, she's had the title, yes, but you guys know.
Asuka's doing just
Asuka's fine.
But again,
then
like
what's happening with
see,
Shayna after that, and to see these next 3 come through.
Sure.
Fantastic.
But if you're a proud fan papa, imagine Triple H and Shawn Michaels, everyone else back in the back who were putting this all together and going like, my girls.
Yeah.
I think, yes, it's finally happening. Something else finally happened on NXT, Nick. The Cruiserweight Championship changed hands. What? We just had We just had a barn burner Cruiserweight ladder match at Takeover Stand and Deliver between Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar. Escobar unifies the 2 belts, and he's the unified champion. So he comes out all, cock of the walk and says, that's right, I am the emperor of the Cruiserweights. Open challenge. Who wants it? And before he's able to get the sentence out, who should come out but Kushida? What? I immediately went, oh, God, no, they're going to job out Kushida to Santos Escobar because that seems to be Kushida's role in NXT. He just jobbed out to again, I want to say I use the term jobbed out anytime someone loses and I didn't want them to lose.
That's
not
you.
Actually what they're
that's
doing.
not what they actually did.
Exactly. No, he didn't job out to Pete Dunne at all. Like, that was an amazing match. So I always have to catch myself with that. Because I always say it as a pejorative for a match finish I don't like, and it's really just that's business. That's how it works. But here comes Kushida out, and I immediately thought like, oh, this is going to be a good match, but Kushida's going to lose again. And then what are you going to? Wow, Kushida's going to have lost the Cruiserweight Championship match too. Like, this poor guy, he can't get a break. No, first of all, those 2 guys they had more chemistry than a Bunsen Beaker set at a science fair in college. My God,
it was good.
It was such a tasty match. I want more. But it finished with Kushida getting a surprise roll up. It was a beautiful little pin on Santos Escobar. It wasn't one of those surprise roll ups you go, oh, come on, he could have kicked out of that. You actually go like, no, he caught him out. He caught him out on that. Even Kushida couldn't believe it. I love the way he sold it. Like, I got him with that. Sweet. And he ran out of the ring at the Cruiserweight Championship, was like, fell on the ramp, like kicking his feet in the air. He was so happy. Escobar looked completely stunned in the ring, as he should be. Holy crap, Nick. What a shock title change. What did you think about this in theory, like of them changing the title this way?
I think it's a good move.
Okay.
Because I've theorized and prophesized that there's bigger things on the horizon for Santos Escobar. I also now believe that he may be one of the, if not the most talented performer in the Performance Center, in the Capitol Wrestling Center right now. I love watching that man work. I absolutely love watching good old King Cuerno, right? I absolutely love watching that dude go. He has the look. He can go. He speaks clean English, which is always a trip up thing, right? For a lot of Latino superstars.
Apparently it is in WWE.
Sure, right?
Yeah.
And we understand what the hurdles are there. But the fact that that's not a hurdle for him is a huge deal. He is the total package. And maybe for the first time since Rey Mysterio, they've got a Latino superstar that is the full package. And I'm sitting here going, please don't this up. Please don't mess this up. Please send him. Send him to the moon.
I will say they've had a few other ones that were maybe and just a matter of degree.
Yeah, not to his degree.
But they were all the total package. Yeah, I think he's one of the best shots they've had, I think. And I know everyone's trying to get the new Rey Mysterio, the new Eddie Guerrero.
Right? The next Eddie.
Come on, can it just be a good wrestler is what I'm saying. He's a fantastic wrestler. He should be shot to the moon. Unfortunately, I have a theory that the Cruiserweight Championship is cursed.
Okay.
Because look at who's held it. TJP out of the company. Brian Kendrick retired. Rich Swann out of the company. He's a champion somewhere else. He's not in the company. We had to go somewhere else together. Yeah, he wasn't doing fine for a while there. True. I'm saying in WWE.
That was his own, mostly because of his own personal shit, but
but he's fine. I don't say why. I'm saying he was a Cruiserweight champion, then he wasn't.
But the title's cursed. I get it. PAC, yeah.
PAC's doing fine too, but we know what happened with him once he got the Cruiserweight Championship. Akira Tozawa, he's now a ninja doing Old Spice commercials. Enzo, gone. Kalisto, gone. Cedric Alexander getting buried on Raw. Buddy Murphy getting buried on SmackDown. Tony Nese, he's still on 205 Live losing to people. Drew Gulak, he's training people in the back and jobbing out to whenever he has a match.
24/7
Leo Rush, gone. Angel Garza. Has anyone seen Angel Garza? We haven't made a Garza dong joke on this show in months, and it shows. It's horrible. Remember, we used to do Garza dong weekly jokes every week. Now we can't. We can't. Why? They've kept us from the dong.
I missed that beautiful man ripping his pants off.
They're hiding the dong. Jesus. At least he had his pants ripped off briefly in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale. And then we go straight to Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar, who Jordan Devlin, had some troubles over last summer. # speaking out. So far Santos Escobar doing okay, and now it's on Kushida, but early days yet. So I'm not trying to put that evil on anybody. I'm just saying.
I think there is a very, very high ceiling for Santos Escobar. I think he will be the NXT champ. Long distance prediction. I do think he will be NXT champion before he leaves NXT.
I think that's a Jackson Riker main events WrestleMania kind of pie in the sky.
I don't think it's that far fetched.
Probably not that far fetched. But you were very certain about that one.
He's main events WrestleMania at the all new company AEW. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was a little pie in the sky. Kushida's the champ though. Kushida's a Cruiserweight champ. Is this a good? I mean, I'm going to call it a first step for him because he hasn't really ever gotten off the ground. It's not a good first step for him.
No, I mean, it is a good first step for him.
Or is it too much like retreading the Hideo Itami issues?
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Kushida is having good matches. Hideo Itami couldn't get away from Thunder Thighs.
Yeah, he very rarely had good matches. Yeah, he did not have a whole lot of good matches. Sadly, which is crazy.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, I was you, Ian. I was watching this not thinking Kushida was winning and then completely gobsmacked. Great move on a Tuesday debut to show anything can happen in the right title to do it. I'm assuming the travel issues is why they had Santos win instead of Devlin last week. Now the big key here is build this division. You've had 3 consecutive strong champions, 6 if you include Gulak, Rush, and Garza. You have the talent to make this a big deal. Alex Zane and Blake Christian in PC, go.
You just got to have people watch it. Yeah. Put more Cruiserweight matches on NXT.
You've got to, cut 205 Live off. Fold the division, the Cruiserweight division, into NXT. Make it part of
But
NXT.
You already have too many people in NXT. Like, NXT is bursting at the seams with people. How do you keep that all going?
They're just spread so thin. Not everybody can be relevant, and it's spread so thin.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because they've just jacked up and hijacked the entire wrestling community.
Not everyone can be relevant. Isn't that exactly why we had this many cuts this week? Is that mentality?
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. We can't.
But even sending people down to 205 Live and main event isn't going to make them relevant.
No, making those shows better is going to make them relevant. And 205 Live's been pretty damn good.
Sure.
Hasn't been.
Nobody's watching it.
Well, and that's the thing. Hasn't. I don't think it's been remaking the wheel or anything, but it's been very, very watchable.
Outside of us in our community, I haven't heard anybody say anything, even on Twitter, about 205 Live.
And that's part of it. There's no promotion behind it right now. So that's on WWE as well.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, brother. In other news in NXT, Karrion Kross is your new champion. He comes out the top. He cuts a nice promo in the spotlight in the middle of the ring. And he basically says, come and get it. Told you. TikTok. This was, how did you feel about this? Because, when he first came out, he was the strong, silent type. Now he actually talks. We've got whole promos coming from this guy. His character's more defined. He sells in matches now. How do you like how Karrion Kross has evolved since he first started squashing dudes in NXT?
I think I like it. I think he also realized that if he's going to have to be a talker, he can't rely on Scarlett to do all of the side work. Didn't work out well for Rusev with Lana, but I'm wondering if there's any comparisons to that. And don't go down that same path. So he has the look, he has the size, he has the in-ring ability. All of that is very clearly cut. The fact that he can also talk and he does these cool YouTube vignettes, again, another one, just like I was raving about Santos. He is the whole package. It's one of the reasons we were so excited that Killer Kross was coming to NXT. He is the total package. The fact that he's got Scarlett Bordeaux right next to him, I mean, just doesn't hurt. And coming out to that entrance is nuts. I love it.
Well, and this is what I'm worried about, is there's a certain level of supernatural mystique that he's kind of hinting at, and then he turns around and does a very straightforward, realistic promo like this, and just combining the theatricality of him in the ring and in the spotlight and everything, and this mystique that was kind of around him. It's a delicate balance, and it's kind of like what they were doing for a while there with Chun Sha, where we were saying you've got to be careful how far you go down the supernatural rabbit hole, because at some point it's not going to be sustainable with the rest of NXT, and it's going to feel jarring, the way that a lot of the Fiend stuff with Randy Orton felt jarring when you watched Raw all the way through. It's fun to have all these different elements, but you've got to make it consistent. And I feel like they're taking Kross into a more consistent place, and I think that's the right decision.
I've got no problem with what he's doing. I love what he's doing.
I love what he's doing too. I don't love what they did with MSK this week, where they put them against Killian Dane and Drake Maverick and got them booed. They got them booed by a mostly in-house crowd. They're your new babyface, white meat babyface champions. You come out and say one of their fathers is up in heaven looking down on his boy being the new champion, how beautiful it is, and you put them up against Dane and Maverick, who are the cute little comedy duo, and you have them do strength spots and big spots on Drake Maverick. Get them booed. That was crazy.
This was a bad move.
That was a bad move. And then afterwards, MSK wasn't even involved in the aftermath. They beat Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, as you would assume. They retained their championships. But then Imperium comes out to beat up Killian Dane afterwards. Why does Imperium... What? Because he questioned them the one time and they already beat him down in the back allegedly, but they still want to kick his...
Where are the vets?
This was odd. You also had Thatcher and Ciampa in the back cutting a promo saying they want to take on MSK for the championship titles. So some very odd moves in the tag division, I thought,
concerning.
This week. I'm not concerned yet, but I definitely, the eyebrow was raised. Yep. People's eyebrow went up on this one. Conversely, I love what they did with Mercedes Martinez. She hunted down Robert Stone in his new glitzy gloves, choked out Aaliyah in the back hallway, said, "Where's my money?" Jessie Kamea got in her face and said, "Come to the ring and I'll show you what's what." So Mercedes Martinez accepts that, beats down Jessie Kamea in the ring. Jessie gets like some offense in at the beginning, and then Mercedes just basically just AAs her, kills her, goes out, holds up Robert Stone against the wall until he gives her money. She walks to the announce desk and goes, "Now that I got my money, I can go for the championship," and stalks away. Mwah. Mwah. Chef's kisses all over. Especially shout out, Nick, to Aaliyah for doing one of the best choke out sells I've seen in a long time.
This whole segment was gold. And the fact that Mercedes Martinez, it looks like they're sending up Mercedes to be Raquel's first opponent or defense for the title. Sold in. Yes.
We know, she's good with powerhouses. We saw what she did with Rhea. This could be amazing. I'm still stuck on Aaliyah just going, I'm getting choked. I'm like, that's a girl who knows the business. That was awesome.
Please never make those sounds again.
It just depends on how many more times Mercedes Martinez chokes out Aaliyah. I can't be responsible for what Mercedes does to her.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, I'm curious to see if they are building Imperium International with UE gone. It's been a long time since we saw NXT without a top faction running everything. That's a good point, Kyle. And I may have read into this too much, but it sounded to me like there was a video package from Imperium with Walter's kind of voiceover over the top of it that implied on a couple of notes that they were coming full time to NXT. I heard a couple of things in there that made me go, huh. Could we finally be having Walter stateside?
Maybe they'll open the checkbook for him after the stockholder meeting, so they don't have to show the stockholders how much they're paying to get Walter over here. But pay that man his money.
Here's $1 million mansion in Orlando, which is a giant place because that's a small town.
Yeah. Main event of NXT, The Way, all four of them, versus Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Dexter Lumis, and Bronson Reed. Interesting. This was basically some sort of comedic blow-off to a lot of the stuff that we saw at Stand and Deliver. We had Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. She basically just fell into his arms. He carried her off backstage, supposedly just go make porn, I imagine. And then we had a 3-on-3 for the rest of the match. Shotzi and Ember and Bronson Reed pick up the win, stand tall at the end because the Way falls apart. Do you think this was a face get back for Bronson Reed? Was that the blow off? Will someone else come along for Johnny Gargano, or is this just another chapter in all of this?
Felt like another chapter, felt like a stunt, felt like an intergender stunt. I like all of the things that we're doing here. I like the thing that we got going on with Indy and Dexter Lumis.
That's hilarious. That stuff is hilarious
it's gold. I wonder at what point Dexter speaks. Does he speak to Indy?
Does he speak to Indy? Does he need to? It's almost more funny that she's doing all the speaking and just like there's not even any speaking.
Projecting everything that she thinks he's thinking about her. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's hilarious to me is it's not like it's a high school crush kind of thing. Like it is, but she's playing it as like she's in heat for this guy. And it's absolutely killing me.
Thirsting hard. Daniel threw £5 into the YouTube super chat. Thank you, man. What's up, Daniel? Good to see you again. Thanks for stopping back by.
Welcome,
we survived WrestleMania weekend. Hope you did as well.
I've not really much more to say about that main event. It was just, it's hard to determine where they're going to go after this. It felt like just a fun little comedy thing. I thought it was a surprising main event to have on your first Tuesday show, maybe showing that you can be entertaining. It just didn't really have a whole lot of weight to it other than Bronson Reed.
I think you absolutely should have done the debut of Frankie Monet and the three late champions as going off the air on this show.
That should have been the final segment.
The fact that they did it in the middle of the show blows my mind.
It was very odd. I felt like that should have been the main segment too. We also had another fantastic match. Swerve Scott and Leon Ruff had what was supposed to be their blow-off match. For the last time, these two have had troubles for months. Now they're going to settle it once and for all. Nope, they didn't settle it. They attacked each other backstage after this match as well. Swerve got the win, and then they just kept going at each other in the back. So this will continue. Do these guys need to move on from each other, or are they still being so entertaining together that you're still okay with them feuding?
I like that they have something to do that doesn't involve a title. That's one. Two, they're both fantastic at what they're doing. I don't have a problem with that. Let them go. But at some point, yes, there's going to have to be some kind of blow-off for this thing so that each of them can move on. There's so much potential in these two guys. I hate to see it. I don't want to say squandered because they're doing good stuff right now, but this has diminishing returns. You know, this can only go on for so long before they have to get to a Hell of War match, you know, before they have to get to something that
that's a you do that match once in a lifetime. You don't do that more than once.
I know. Just look at Swerve's back when he has his shirt off. It's still there 5 years later. 6 years later. But I look at this and I go, I have so much hope and potential embedded in me for Killshot, for Swerve Scott, that I want to see him do more than this. And I find that the fact that they're still doing this a little bit disappointing. That's my wrestling viewpoint.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming at it too, where I'm like, is there nothing better for these guys? Like, I'm loving what they're doing. They're not quite at a fight forever level with me yet, because I kind of want to see what they can do against other people, but I don't know if there's anything else out there for them right now. So that's kind of why I'm wondering about it. I'm also wondering if we're going to see more Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, because we got we had an aftermath package put together after their match at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, which was a unsanctioned match. So they both had to go to the hospital afterwards. Kyle collapsed backstage. Adam Cole couldn't walk out of the ring. He had to be put into a neck brace. And they both get driven to the same hospital.
This was genius.
And they both get rolled into the hospital at the same time. And in one of the most Adam Cole moments that Adam Cole's ever had, when he seems to have these on the regular, he's screaming at Kyle the entire way they're getting rolled down the aisle.
He's strapped to a gurney, has a neck brace on. He's like, I'm going to end you.
The only thing he can move is his mouth, so he's moving it. You son of a bitch, Kyle! I'm going to kill you! This isn't over yet! You son of a bitch! You hear me? Kyle's just sitting up, 4 feet from him, just kind of like shaking his head like, oh my God, this guy. Amazing. Just them screaming at each other coming into the hospital was...
Yeah.
Also,
Fantastic.
chef's kiss. Loved it. Fantastic. Curious if there's more or if that was just a fun little bit to kind of be the coda, the period at the end of that sentence. The other side of the Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong rolled in with his wife and resigned. I'm not sure if that means Marina Shafir is out too, but he turned in his envelope to William Regal and said, I'm out.
They didn't actually show what was in the manila envelope, and I'm on to you, Roddy. I'm not going to get worked. This feels like a work.
Okay. Of course it's a work. He's not really quitting NXT. It's in kayfabe.
Well, what was
it's
it
like
supposed to
when
do
Johnny.
then?
It's like when. What do you mean? It's the same thing like when Johnny Gargano was forced to quit NXT by Tommaso Ciampa. He's gonna be gone for a little bit, and they'll bring Roddy back a little bit later, or he'll end up on SmackDown and just get buried for the next 6 months. Pete Dunne says he's coming for gold. He didn't say who's gold, but hey, he's got history with Kushida. Not saying, just saying.
He has slimmed down quite a bit too.
He is a skinny, wiry, scary man right now. And finally, Sarai is coming, formerly Sarai, from over in Japan. She's coming next week. If you haven't seen her stuff in Japan, she's not as flashy as an Io Shirai or a Kairi Sane. I'd put her more kind of like an Asuka, but just with not as much personality. I'm hoping NXT is going to be good for bringing out a personality or giving her a character. But she hits hard. She throws some serious forearms. So I'm very, very looking forward to seeing what she brings to the division.
Couple of call-outs here from Kyle. Said for 100 bits, said Dexter just draws pictures cheering on Indy. It's hilarious. Dexter's not just
that's how he communicates.
Yeah, he's not a serial killer, just a silent artist. I'm curious if they do a Bronson Reed tag team intergender faction because they looked good together.
I mean,
wouldn't be mad.
They're all good wrestlers. Yeah. Like we said, they've got so many people. That's one way to get them on TVs. Put them in gigantic factions.
Yeah. Cal threw in another 100 bits, said, side note of UE, really hope Roddy Strong isn't getting called up because, my God, is that man a dead man walking if he ever leaves NXT.
Yeah. Dead
please be
man
kayfabe, please.
Oh, dead man. He's dead on the main roster.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
boy.
chance.
Yeah, no chance. That's what he's got. Man. But he's not the only person who didn't have a chance, because there are some matches that we have to talk about with some major ramifications over on AEW Dynamite.
Mike Tyson returns to AEW Dynamite. Yes, he has a backstage segment where he is going to be the special enforcer, I think was his role, in a match later in the night. And MJF approaches him with a check that has a blank check. And if you looked close enough, I think up in the top left where you normally have your name and everything, it actually said Party City. So I think it was a Party City prop. But it had Mike Tyson typed out on it. Mike, he says, I want to buy you. I want you to work for me. Here's a check with your name on it. That's blank. Mike looks at it, snatches it out of his hand, tears it up, and eats it. Mike Tyson ate it.
Just eats it. He chews it up and then spits it back.
Yes.
Oh, Mike,
this is so good.
This is the crazy Mike Tyson I want. It's just because the entire time MJF's like, "Hey, buddy," and Mike Tyson's like, "No." The entire time Mike's like just looking for an excuse to hit him, and MJF is just like barely keeping it under control, like insults his face tattoo and like touches him, and Mike's just ready to lay him out, and MJF is always just like, "No, wait, hold on, one more thing."
I love MJF so much.
Mike Tyson refuses to be bought, and he spits the check back at MJF. No chance of buying out Mike Tyson. Later on, we have the match between Dax the Axe and Chris Jericho, with Mike Tyson roaming outside the ring, making sure that no one else interferes. They're both allowed one guy outside the ring. So, of course, Dax has cash. They try to have Tully out there. Tully's like, "What do you mean I can't be outside?
What? I'm not doing anything wrong. What?"
Feigning ignorance. Beautiful. And then Jericho has Sammy Guevara. And everyone tries to get...
Whoa, my thing didn't work. What happened?
I don't know.
But Sammy Guevara.
Thank you, Mr. Priest. So at one point, Jericho grabs a chair. Mike rips the chair out of his hand, and Jericho ends up getting laid out as a result. But then Dax goes for a baseball bat. He goes for Floyd. Mike Tyson rips that out of his hand. Mike's calling it down the middle. Can't buy Mike Tyson. Jericho had asked him like earlier on in a promo segment, "Hey, Mike, I love you. We settled things on the phone last week. We buried the hatchet from that time you hit me in the face on Monday Night Raw 10 years ago. But you know what? It's cool. Tonight, you're not my friend. You're the enforcer. I want you to call it down the middle." Mike kept to his word. He kept both of them from cheating multiple times in the match. At one point, Cash got on his face, and there came the old punch, laid Cash out with one to the face. Oh,
night.
Bye. I don't know if you saw him selling it. He never got up. The entire rest of course, the rest of Pinnacle came out at a certain point. All of the rest of Inner Circle came out. There was a big brawl. Cash got carried out. Like everyone else kind of like, was backing away, screaming at each other. Cash they carried him out. Like he sold that like he got knocked the F out. So it was lovely.
Awesome.
But again, and also the match itself, Dax versus Jericho, was really good. It was a brawl.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful, beautiful brawl. Very intense. It was a lot of fun. And at the end, Jericho, bunch of kerfufflery at the end, but Jericho gets off the Judas Effect, pins him 1, 2, 3, and stands tall. Now, but this brings me to the point here, Nick. Last week we were saying the Pinnacle hasn't really had any chance to get a lot of heat except for their debut. And here again, Pinnacle loses out. We've got 2 weeks until Blood and Guts. Is there enough time to get them some heat so we actually believe that they are a viable team and they're a danger to the Inner Circle?
I trust in MJF. I trust in MJF to spend the next 2 weeks getting under the skin so much that they end up in physicality on the go-home show, and it's going to be nuts. Is Blood and Guts going to be a Dynamite, or is it going to be an actual pay-per-view?
It's going to be a Dynamite. They've done it before, like Fyter Fest, that kind of thing, where it's on.
So they're probably not going to have a go-home show then. My point is that they're going to build up to it. I absolutely trust in MJF and Jericho to build this to be nuclear.
I just worry because they should already be doing that.
Yeah.
Like Jericho, I don't know if he should have eaten a pin here, but it definitely should have. I don't think that it should have ended with Inner Circle once again standing tall. and getting crowd adulation. Unless you plan on letting Pinnacle go over at Blood and Guts,
or the next 2 weeks building it to the point where they look like they have the upper hand. Make me invest.
That's what I'm saying. Pinnacle needs to start getting ones over on Inner Circle like now. This would have been a good place to start, but they didn't start here.
Do you think it would have worked if you hindsight 2020, knowing what we know, if Mike Tyson had accepted the payoff and worked for MJF and had them win? How would you have felt about it?
I don't know. They seem to be keeping Mike face no matter what his role is, and since Jericho's now face, like they just kept them, they haven't worked together. I don't know if it's feasible to have Mike Tyson turn at some point on before Blood and Guts. I just don't know if that's with the way that he's playing his role. Like, you never really know what you're going to get with Mike. Like, is he going to remember his lines? Is he going to remember like when he's supposed to do what? You know, he's a bit of a wild card. So it's kind of easier to keep him a face because a heel has to think a little bit.
He seemed like he was getting a little bit antsy in that backstage segment with MJF.
MJF. Yeah, he's like, what point am I supposed to kick his ass? At what point can I unleash my fury upon him? Not now, Mike. I really want to punch him in the face. He's got a very punchable face.
Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yes. Excuse me, I go home and feed my pigeons. But so I think Mike's staying face. It's just a matter of if Pinnacle gets some more heat. I think they need to take some cues from the Young Bucks, who have gone heel. They've gone.
There's heel, and then there's whatever they're doing. Like they've gone. Yeah. They skipped heel. They've gone all the way.
They went full on. Yeah, they have gone all the way to the dark side. What's sad is I feel like their actual turn last week was a little wimpy. Yeah. They made up for that this week by just doing every dick move in the freaking book, hanging out with Don Callis, wearing new gear that's way cockier, like mocking everything that they used to do to be faces. Whether it's like mocking like their old physical gestures, changing their in-ring style to be more heelish, doing a lot of heel tactics, threatening to super kick a cameraman, but letting Don Callis do it instead. And the finish to their match that opened the show against Death Triangle, Fenix and PAC, which might have been one of the best TV matches I've seen in months.
That was fantastic.
It was absolutely ludicrous. And my God, it never let up. It was unreal, which you would expect from these four guys. Like
I would be disappointed if I got anything less, frankly.
And that's what's crazy is these guys just went out and put on just an absolutely jaw-dropping match like it was nothing. And I expected them to. That's like I had to sit back and go, wait a minute. What I expected them to be this good. That's insane. But it ended with them low-blowing PAC and then ripping off Phoenix's mask. So he had to cover up his face, ate a super kick, and the pin 1, 2, 3 while covering up. Man, you don't mess with a luchador's mask.
Good for Excalibur for calling it out, saying that's a disqualification in Mexico.
Yep.
I love Excalibur on commentary.
Yeah.
It's so good. This is the antithesis of whatever the hell is going on in WWE.
Him and Don Callis up there. Don Callis calling a reverse tiger. What do you call reverse tiger? No, it wasn't a driver. It was I
don't remember.
Tope or something. It was flying over the top.
Wouldn't you call it that Excalibur?
And I was sitting there going like, I mean, yes, I know Tiger Mask invented it, but wow, I haven't heard that called in forever. I don't remember what move it was. I know it was an over the top move. But so having the two of them on there was beautiful, and this match was beautiful. And the only issue I have is that the Young Bucks' turn last week was so wimpy compared to just how heel they went that it seemed incongruous how like not bad they were last week to how bad they are this week. I know it's wrestling. People turn on a dime. That's just how it works. But just in AEW where you're used to these long builds and seeing the seeds get sown, seeing them go this far, like Kenny went so far to the dark side, but it seemed to happen more gradually. Do you know what I mean, Nick? Do you know what I'm saying with this?
It started all the way back before he and Hangman were tag team champions. That's how long the Kenny evolution has been happening.
He threw lots of hints at that in there. And Nick really doesn't ever do a whole lot of acting. It's mostly Matt. And Matt has been acting like conflicted, but he hasn't been acting like the evil guy has been trying to get out. And then he comes out this week and he's got the dangly earrings, and apparently they're all into dangly earrings now.
The 90s are back, dude. It's
the
you know,
danglies. Get the danglies.
We're going to be running
I
around
gotta get some
in
danglies for the
overalls
show.
with one of the straps undone. We're going to have starter jackets again. I mean, the 90s are back for some reason.
I got some Jenkos hidden
Seriously,
somewhere.
I'm gonna get my Vans and my Jenkos out, and we're gonna have a good time. You got your platform docks laying around somewhere?
Oh, I never gave up my docks. I never stopped wearing docks. Are you kidding me? I'm a dock man.
Can I ask you one question real quick? Random?
Sure.
I want to go back one match, and not specifically about the match, but have you watched the Broken Skull session, the 2-hour marathon Broken Skull session with Jericho and Stone Cold?
I have not gotten all the way through it. I've gotten parts of it. I have not watched the whole thing.
Let's remind me when you get through it, because I do want to talk about it here on the show. I'll save it till then.
Okay. Was it the story about Haku?
No. I just overall review in general of the. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It took me back to the time, the pure time that there was the time that I watched wrestling with my granddad. And then there was the time that me and my friends started watching it in the mid to late 90s. The 97-ish. Right?
Right, yes.
And that kind of purity, it evoked all of the emotions. Because Jericho's timeline kind of lines up with my timeline of
a little bit,
when he came over, right?
You were watching Smoky Mountain when he and Lance were there. And,
yeah. So all of that was... It lined up, right? And I look back at that 30 years, and much like I did the Undertaker's he was doing his 30-year thing, I was like, wow, that's kind of my life.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So it hit on all of those kind of story moments. I remember that. Oh, I remember that. It drug up all these memories that I wasn't expecting, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I also want to applaud both Tony Khan and Vince McMahon, AEW and WWE, for even allowing it to happen in the first place.
Well, about that. So apparently Stone Cold and WWE were supposed to have like a long-term deal going, and that broke down a few days ago, and now they're not working together at all.
What?
So more on that story as I find out more about it, but apparently Stone Cold and WWE are no longer working together.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that they're related, but Stone Cold will be on Jericho's podcast. I believe if it's not already up, it's coming up soon.
I think it's already up. I just haven't had a chance yet.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
but
go watch it if you haven't seen it yet.
But there you
Some
go.
Good stuff in there, guys.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an Attitude Era mark like me.
Yes, you are. But I'm also, I got to say, I am a mark for the Young Bucks turning heel because I prefer them heels. They're better as heels. But then the question is, they eliminated Death Triangle. Who are the next tag teams? All the tag teams we saw sitting out in the audience for this. Butcher and Blade, Jurassic Express, SCU. Who are the next victims of the Young Bucks, and who's possibly going to, who do you see possibly dethroning them at this point?
Dethroning them? Nobody. For a long time. Nobody for a long time. Pinnacle and Inner Circle are busy doing their thing.
Right.
That's it.
That's all you see. So you don't see any of those tag teams out there.
I mean, Best Friends are over AF. You know, they could come up and challenge, but I don't think they realistically take it off of the Young Bucks.
SCU right now, they were right under Death Triangle. They're I think like 9 or 10-0. And if they lose, they split up forever. SCU's done. So there's a couple of stories there. There is, you could either have SCU go up against the Young Bucks, and in this, big apocalyptic final match, they either win the titles or split up, and the Young Bucks, to get heel heat, split up SCU. Or you have SCU go over, and then their entitled title reign is, this is our last ride. Whoever beats us, we split up. I'm not going to lie, I kind of like the former. I like the Bucks getting that extra heat by breaking up this really popular tag team. But then, of course, the question still remains, then who finally takes the titles off of them?
Kyle nailed it in the chat. Bear Country.
Oh, stop it.
Yes, sir.
You knew that would get Nick. You knew that would get Nick.
You and me, Kyle.
All right. Well, while we're talking about things that are difficult to watch, Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin. This was an absolute freaking cluster. It's a falls count anywhere. So in other words, anything goes. Right off the bat, Matt Hardy brings in a chair. Right off the bat, he starts using it to tan Darby's hide. Literally, pieces of skin missing. Blood on Darby's back. And things just got crazier from there. We had interference from just about everybody who we hadn't seen on the rest of the show. We had all of the Hardy front office come out at one point and try to, once Darby started getting back in the match, Butcher came out and threw a trash can right in his face. Private Party tried to get involved. Dark Order came out to even things up because they have issues with the Hardy front office or family office. Then out came Sting to help the Dark Order. Then out came Lance Archer, and you're wondering if he's going to hit Sting, but no, he helps Sting against Private Party. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky come out. They see Lance Archer. They don't want none of that, so they go, forget it. We're going to head right back to the back. And then ultimately the match goes, like it comes back down to Hardy and Darby. They go into the back, right back in the front production area. Matt puts Darby through a table. Darby kicks out. Matt gives him a twist of fate with a chair around his neck. Darby kicks out. Darby ends up powering up, hulking up, beating Matt Hardy senseless with a chair, puts him on the announce desk, and then does a coffin drop from one of the scaffolds onto him. And then finally the match is over. Dear God Almighty.
The wreckage of the table wrapped around Matt's neck, and it just...
Yes.
I loved this. I thought was it chaotic? Yes. Were there like 4 or 5 different scrums happening at any given time?
Yeah.
I loved... I
overbooked as hell.
It's overbooked as hell, but I dug it. I liked that we had different things. Meanwhile, over here, we've got this these two teams are going at it. And blah, blah, blah. Just imagine trying to call all of that on commentary. It's just insane.
But I loved it because all of the different relationships that you showed. This is why factions are great.
Meaning.
This is why everyone had meaning. Like even if a team like Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page is on TV for 2 minutes, they had relevance. We know that they're out there. We were reminded that they exist, and like they don't have to have a match every week to be relevant. We don't have to have rematches every week to have it be relevant. They can just be there. We remember that at some point they're going to be involved with one of these teams.
Like you said, this is the beauty of
at some
factions.
point. They could be the next challengers for Darby Allin, right? Like all of these things had, like Lance Archer and Sting. They had a 30-second interaction, and it was. It was an interesting, made us think about what's coming next for Lance Archer and Sting.
It was a bit of a payoff also for all those interruptions we've been doing for weeks now.
It was advancement of a storyline in 30 seconds in the middle of another match. That's
Sting
good
picks up his after Lance leaves. Sting picks up his bat, hucks it up to the top of the ramp to Darby. Darby catches it in his hand and does that slow look at it and then looks back up at him.
Matt Hardy with that. Sorry. Yep.
He's got the Sting bat.
Bunch of good things.
All of this stuff, I thought it was fantastic.
But also, finally, the thing here is Darby he's an undersized wrestler. Let's call a spade a spade. He's a little guy. But his whole gimmick is you can't kill him, right? He's got all this heart. He's got all
relentless
of this
tattooed across the back of his neck,
Right. He can change up his style to match anybody that he's facing. That's his whole thing. But a guy like that is only as good as you book him to be, right? Everyone out there who says, "Oh, he doesn't look believably like he could win these matches," you're right. Which means you have to book him to be able to win these matches. Which means he needs to kick out of some big spots, like getting put through the table. Honestly, I thought he kicked out of some stuff he shouldn't have kicked out of because it was just too much. Like getting. Maybe the leg drop through a table. Okay, kick out of that. But then the twist of fate in the chair, it seemed like a lot. But at the same time, it made me think they're investing in Darby. They're saying this is how, yes, Matt's going to beat him down because Matt is bigger and Darby is smaller. And yes, we know Darby's small, but you just can't kill this kid. That's how you're booking him. That is how you get someone like Darby over. People like to cheer winners. They like to cheer people who are badasses. Darby looked like a badass in this match. It's just a matter of the company getting behind them and the bookers getting behind them, and that's exactly what you saw here. So
I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's how it should be.
I'm probably going to have 50 to 75 pounds on him. I wouldn't want to go near that kid.
Right. And you look at it's like we were just saying on Monday Night Raw about Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. If you think they're undersized, they can't beat people. Have them beat people. It's your world. You control the horizontal. You control the vertical. Just have them beat people. have them kick out of moves that other people don't, right? Make them into badasses. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do to make them scary.
Agreed.
So,
great match. If you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch this chaotic. Was it last? No, it was a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yeah, AEW open and close with sick matches this week. There was also some other matches in the middle of this. Jade Cargill had another match with Red Velvet, to the surprise of no one. She beat Red Velvet. Who do you think looks more like a star in this? Jade, who's very physically gifted, or Red Velvet, who I think has more charisma?
I think they both do. I think this is doing wonders for both of these ladies. Red Velvet looks very strong in defeat here. I think, yes, she's doing tope suicidas that are better than most of the men do.
She also, because the match ended with her going for a splash off the top rope, missing, and Jade capitalizing with a double chicken wing face buster.
Beautiful.
And it basically looked like Red Velvet screwed up.
Yeah.
In kayfabe, which I thought was the right decision. As you said, it kept her looking strong, just over-eager, which is kind of her character, is that she's very intense. And perhaps getting ahead of herself, a little bit of a rookie mistake. I feel like Red Velvet gets the business. She gets performing more than Jade does. Jade has just insane natural physical charisma because she's just so strong. She looks so cool, right?
I don't know if, outside of like bodybuilding competitions, I've never seen a woman that's chiseled like that. It's fascinating to watch.
But unfortunately, I feel like, she doesn't get she's not a good actress, for lack of a better term.
I think that you can improve. You can't.
Her selling, her facials, they're not. Red Velvets are way better.
Sure. But that's mostly due to her intensity, which we were saying.
Can we call out Darby's selling? Darby's an amazing seller. He did some selling in that match where I went, that is perfect.
That bit when he jumped off the stage and went down to get the bat off the floor because it had fallen down, probably an accidental, it dropped off the stage. And then he goes to climb back up, and he's just like stumbling and tripping over his own feet and that kind of stuff. Oh, man, and the selling of looking at the bat when he caught it and then just slowly.
It was when Matt Hardy hit him in the back. It was in the ring. Matt Hardy hit him in the back, and instead of going like, and like this big explosive play to the back of the audience thing, he's this little slump, and you see him his face just going, like he's taking a really hard dump, and it's what you would actually do if you got really brutally hit by a chair, harder than like the way that it would be if they weren't protecting them with their chair shots these days. But it was a great sell. That's the kind of thing that I think, like, Jade's selling is still very much very big, and she'll drop it. Suddenly you could see her eyes moving a lot with it, it isn't in her eyes. I feel like she's got a lot of growing to do, but we'll say it again. She is such a blue chip player. Like, if you get her some more experience, she's absolutely going to be the top of your division.
All she needs is reps.
In a few years. All she needs is reps. All she needs is reps. Someone else got reps on the show. Anthony Ogogo, bronze medalist from Britain. He got one of his first matches in AEW. I think his first one on Dynamite for sure. He came out and had a match with Cole Carter. It was not a long match. Couple of moves, and he gives him one punch in a kidney shot, just to show what a boxer he was. Cool. That was our first look at the Factory, QT Marshall's new evil faction. Good first look. They look scary.
I like it.
I also like seeing Chris Statlander back. She came back in a squash match against Amber Nova, son of a mechanic, or daughter of a mechanic, excuse me. Local Florida wrestler. I remember she was in Impact for a hot second too.
I was wondering where I had seen her name before.
Yeah, she was in a match against Kairi Sane in NXT a couple years ago too.
That's probably where I saw it.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But Statlander looked amazing. Amazing. She's so much more relaxed in the ring than the last few times we saw her. Her presence is fantastic right now. Jesus Christ, she looked like a star in this.
That girl, guys, it's been a long time since I've been able to rave about Chris Statlander. But I'm telling you, that you talk about blue chippers, that's a blue chipper.
Yeah.
That is the future women's AEW champion.
Yeah, you know what? I believed in this. And you know what's crazy? There's been a lot of controversy back and forth about the Pixies being the song now for Best Friends. It's apparently now Chris Statlander's song too, because she came out to Where Is My Mind as well.
Well, they all came
Nick,
out, so I'm wondering if they came out because they came out. They played it because they came out together. But she does have her own music.
She did, but you know what? I liked it with her better than I liked it with Orange Cassidy. I loved it with her. With Orange Cassidy, like it didn't quite hit the same way. With her, I was like, this feels great. It was weird. I'd love to get other people's opinions on that. How that Pixies theme is working for you guys.
Let me catch up real quick. Kyle gifted a tier 1 sub to Mountain Man Nap. Thank you very much. Kyle, you're on a gifted sub streak tonight, my friend. Thank you so much for all the gifted
Kyle
subs.
being Santa Claus.
Good Lord. Mountain Man,
Santa
make sure you
Kyle.
thank Kyle for the gifted sub. Kyle also cheered 100 bits, said they really need to find something else for these two women, meaning Jade and Red Velvet. You had your payoff with the Shaq feud. It's time to move these two on to something new.
Yeah, this definitely felt like retreading the same old thing.
This was the first time it felt that way for me. But even there, I still wasn't mad at it. I enjoyed the match.
Same. And now, but I agree 100%. Cool. You did it again. Same result. Move on.
Agreed. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, brother. Couple more things here on AEW. Christian came out to the ring to have an interview with Tony Schiavone. And Team Taz was in the back saying, wow, no call, no nothing from Christian all this week. We better go talk to him. Ricky Starks was furious. He said, we shouldn't have waited this long. F this guy. And Taz said, calm down there, Starks. And Cage says, yes, Starks, calm down. And Taz says, you calm down too, Cage. Both of y'all too combustible. Why don't you wait back here? Myself, Hobbs, and the greatest wrestler on AEW Dynamite, my son Hook, will all go out and talk to Christian. So they did. In the middle of Christian's promo, he didn't even really get anywhere. Team Taz just straight up interrupted him. And Taz comes out and goes, Christian, you were supposed to give me your answer. So I'm going to come out here and ask you face to face. You join Team Taz.
I love the rib Christian gave back to him with
Christian wrecked
just like, listen, I was gonna have this discussion with you back like professionals, but hey, since you're out here, I'll tell it to you to your face.
And it's a good thing that you're on the third step, so I can actually be face to face with you there.
Oh, he's dead.
He murdered him a couple times in this, but basically he said no. Bottom line, Christian said no, and Taz said, wrong choice. Powerhouse Hobbs gets in the ring. And with a little help from the greatest wrestler on AEW, Hook, takes out Christian, whoops his ass, face busts him on the outside, just destroys him. We find out we've got Hobbs versus Christian. On the one hand, it's a little, I feel bad for Christian coming in and facing off with Kenny Omega, and then like 3 weeks later being like, you're going to go feud with Team Taz. On the other side, Hobbs versus Christian. Yes, please. Put it in my eye holes. Yes, please.
I ain't mad at it.
I'm not mad at that. Give me the peeps versus the moobs. I'm all about it.
Kenny's
I want it.
busy right now. There's a lot going on orbiting around Kenny. It would probably it would do for Christian what happened with Dakota Kai and Frankie Monet this week with all of those ladies coming out. It would not be a good thing to happen to Christian.
No, it's way too convoluted. Yeah. This is a place where he can shine more and he can bring something out from Team Taz. A lot of talented guys there. So I think this is absolutely the right place for him to be. And then finally, a couple more things. Miro cuts a promo saying he hasn't talked to Kip ever since that arcade match, doesn't know what's happening, but if Kip doesn't want to catch up with him, he doesn't give a crap. He's not waiting for anybody. He's going for some sort of gold. Hashtag Darby Allin's going to die. Throwing that out there. Thunder Rosa cuts a promo. She says she wants both the NWA and AEW belts, calls out Sheeta and Serena Deeb. And then finally, Britt Baker says, I've been moving up the rankings. Red Velvet lost. Why do I do that every week? Red Velvet lost.
Just to mess with me is why you do it.
It would make you think of Velvet Sky. Sorry, buddy. She said,
before
Red
there
Velvet
was
lost.
Tony Storm, guys, there was Velvet Sky.
There was Velvet Sky.
That's what. Never mind.
Britt says she's moving up the rankings. Keep an eye out. She's going to be your champion
Specifically
soon.
called out she's going to be on Dark and Elevation, working on her rankings, upping her rankings.
She could theoretically be the number one contender come the next pay-per-view. Come Double or Nothing.
It was 6 weeks from Double or Nothing?
So Lance Storm just tweeted out people saying Britt Baker should be the number one contender, and he said, "I can't stand when people do this shit." I'm paraphrasing. I don't have it in front of me. I hate when people do this shit. The person who has the most anticipation for this match at the time should be the number one contender. To which I countered, dude, that's on the bookers.
Yeah.
You create anticipation by making it important. So it is something that we need to talk about, because and I know Lance knows this. I'm definitely not talking down to that man. That man's forgotten more than I've ever known about wrestling. But the bottom line is that if you want people to anticipate Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida, you need to build her up for that and make it exciting. I think Britt Baker is an exciting person. I think we all agree about that. You could easily book that to happen. Who else at this point would be more exciting to see go against Shida?
Nobody.
Given the recent Thunder Rosa, maybe
give Chris Statlander 3 months.
Yeah, you got to build up Statlander.
I'd say she'd be a great. So go flip the title to Britt Baker. Chris Statlander's her first opponent in 3 months.
Yeah, you know who will not be facing Hikaru Shida for the title? Ivelisse, who apparently has been released from AEW. She was interviewed earlier this week about it and blamed it on Thunder Rosa, backstage politicking, a few coaches who were inappropriate with her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, Ivelisse is gone from AEW, it seems, never to return. To which I will just say, if you keep smelling shit, maybe check your own shoes. And that's
this is not the
AEW.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything else about it, honestly. It'll just get flipped on us.
Of course. But suffice it to say that Ivelisse will not be on AEW anymore. It looks like Diamante will, however, so keep your eyes out.
Kyle said Velvet Sky had a spot in every man's heart. Lucky bastard, Bubba Ray Dudley. Listen, we've got more heat with Bully. I've got more heat with Bully Ray than just the fact that they stole our show name.
Well,
I got heat with Bully like I got heat with Juice now. Know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Yeah.
Kyle throwing 100 bits said, for the longest time, I've found something off-putting about Taz's promos, and I couldn't put my finger on it. The light bulb went off with the short joke, and you won't be able to unsee this. Taz's promo sounds like Eric Cartman with a Brooklyn accent, and he even looks the part.
That would make me like his promos more.
Yeah. Because his only retort was, if I stood on my wallet, I would be 10 times taller than you. Oh.
Yeah, you guys, if I stood on my wallet, I'd be 10 times taller. You guys.
I said your mom is poor, kitty.
Screw you, Christian. I'm giving him. You nah, me nah.
And that's AEW Dynamite, everybody.
Hey.
So, that leaves us with only one segment left to go, and that is a little thing we like to call
our moment of positivity.
The moment of positivity. That's right. It's that time in the show where we need to think back on the last few days of wrestling and come up with something positive, something happy, something joyous, something that made us smile so that we can spread that feeling out to you out there on our way out of the show. So we're not sitting here and thinking about all the things that we didn't like or that went wrong. Let's think about the good things. Nick, what was your moment of positivity?
Is there any doubt? I became verklempt on the show tonight talking about it. It was absolutely the moment of the 3 women's champions in NXT. Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair all holding their titles up in the center of the ring. Like you said, poor Dakota Kai, poor Frankie Monet on her debut, to be overshadowed with that moment. That moment absolutely should have closed NXT this week on their move to Tuesdays. It should have been the thing that we went off air to. But my God, I was emotionally moved in ways that I'd probably have to go back to Ciampa turning on Johnny Gargano to get back to that point. It was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic for me. What about you, Ian? What was your moment of positivity?
Mine was from SmackDown.
Really?
Mine was Bianca Belair coming out and not feeling like obviously a scripted promo, but it didn't feel scripted in the way that some of hers and Sasha's promos leading up to WrestleMania felt scripted. It felt scripted as in it had been written before, but the way that you give a speech, if you're doing some public speaking, you know what the words are. You know what the feelings are. And the words are just the vessels through which your feelings are transmitted. It was a wonderful moment for her. It was awesome to see that they let her have that moment with Montez out there, and they didn't force the moment. They let them be real. They let them be themselves. They had interactions that felt like real people.
And they disappeared off the screen and let Bianca have her moment. They didn't try to like crowd
everything.
It, right?
Yeah, they didn't try. It didn't feel like a forced moment. It felt real, and even the stuff that she said that was very cliche and kind of pat stuff, she sold it. She delivered it so well, and even that made me go, "That's why I believed in her. That's why I'm happy to see her on top. That's why her winning is rewarding to me as a viewer, because I believe that as a performer, she has earned this. I believe that when I see her, she's not only a believable champ in terms of her physical assets and being big and strong and everything that she says she is and all athletic and everything else. It's also because I believe she should be on the top of the company because of her personality, her ability to talk, her charisma. I believe that she should be there because as a babyface, which is the character she's playing right now, she is 110% believable.
100%.
So that was to me as a viewer, as someone who critiques the shows, as someone who we look at it through a critical eye, Nick, week in and week out. It was rewarding for me to see that they also saw that the same thing, and that all of those things were rewarded for her. So it was a wonderful moment, and that was my moment of positivity.
If I can throw one more thing on there real quick, if we look at the way things are right now, if they ever wanted to do a second Evolution women's pay-per-view, all women pay-per-view, look at the lineup of champions that you have right now, plus you still have the 4 horsewomen, plus an entire roster of NXT women, plus the entire roster. I think you could put on a better show than the first one. I think the talent that you have now, 3-4 years removed, there's absolutely no reason they shouldn't do another Evolution pay-per-view later this year.
I'm gonna edit what I was about to say. I was about to make a joke about the entire show being 3-minute matches, but I'm gonna leave that on the cutting room floor because we're trying to be positive right now. We're gonna leave this show on an up note, and we're just gonna say yes, the future looks very bright for some of the women in WWE, and particularly for Bianca Belair, for all the women that for Raquel and Rhea as well. So all good stuff, and looking forward to more of that coming next week. So everyone, thank you very much for hanging out with us tonight. Nick, take it away.
Yes, guys, linktree.com/BWO is where you go to find all the links for all our stuff. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us, all of the things that you guys know how to do at this point. But that's the one place you can go to find all the links to all the things. Get into our Discord. It's a lot of fun. Discord.gg/orbitaljigsaw is the place to go. You can find all kinds of good stuff in there, from tech to gaming to busted wide open live chats for every show all throughout the week as we watch them, as well as dedicated channels for live pay-per-views alongside myself and Sir Ian Dangerous. So come join us, jump into the Discord, make sure you'll have a really good time. What else? Instagram and Twitter, follow us over there, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Patreon, thank you guys, patrons, for all the support. It is the best way to support the show, along with all the bits and subs here on Twitch and the super chats over on YouTube. Thank you guys for all of the bits and subs and super chats tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for showing your love to your boys here at BWO. We got a bonus episode coming up in the next couple of weeks. Be ready for that. But yeah, I think that's it, Ian. I am still recovering from my voice. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I absolutely blew my voice out WrestleMania week, but I'm going to try and do this close because it's fried right now. But until next time, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
My God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.